10 a.m. We're about to get charged up, and today we're going to be talking about why it's so important to concentrate on networking in your 20s. Networking is often the difference between success and failure, especially for me. Whether you're in your early 20s or you're a teenager or maybe you're in a midlife crisis, this video will apply to you because it's going to refer to different situations that applies to everyone. So for example, if you're young, you're at a point now where your life is changing very much every single year. And what happens is, as you get older, naturally for most people, that end up slowing down to a point where their life is very similar every single year. Nothing really changes. They've got the same girlfriend, they've got the same job, they live in the same area, they complain about the same problems. If you're young, things are happening fast. If you've just left school, you move on to college, you move on to uni, maybe you try and become an entrepreneur, you're going in so many different directions, life is moving fast, and then what happens is life slows down. And where we've been able to be consistent in our journey is every single year is still different. We're keeping that pace, we're keeping that momentum, and that's through clever networking that opens up new opportunities. Someone once taught me that you don't get a second chance to make a first impression, and it stuck by me because every single day I live by this same motto. Every time I meet someone, I look them in the eyes, I shake their hand. There's meaning behind the engagement. This is everything we teach in the Top Drawer Man course. How to have a firm handshake, how to look somebody in the eye, how to have confidence in your mannerisms, and how to also have genuine intentions. There's a difference between a boy and a man, and 80% of men act like boys. So to be that 20%, the 20% that is going to travel, that is going to go out there, that is going to explore the world, building your character and being a stoic man is going to get you to so many further places than the average individual. So if you want to shake the right hands, if you want to be around the right people, you also have to carry yourself and be a certain type of individual. You can't dress in a poor way. You need to dress like you represent yourself and have respect for yourself, because at the end of the day, if you don't even respect yourself, how are you going to expect somebody else to respect you? If you're trying to network with high value men, then you need to at least nail the basics. High value men are not going to spend time with people that have bad hygiene, have bad posture, and have bad communication skills. You need to present yourself in a way that people can ultimately respect from day one. One thing that I did that really helped towards my progression with my own character and essentially just getting more people into my phone book was, as soon as I left school, I realized that all of the people around me, although they were potentially good friends and I had a good time with them and maybe used to go out drinking with them and things like that, it didn't really push me in the right direction or open up new opportunities for me. And therefore, there was no return on the investment anymore. So I had to start looking elsewhere to potentially open up that network. And there's ways in which you can do that. You have to remove yourself from the degeneracy. So if people are always going out, you have to take yourself out of that and think, okay, well, where am I going to meet better people? Well, at that age, when I was just young, when I was 18, 19, going to the gym, a gym is a great place where you can meet people from all walks of life. You got people down here, you've got people that are just kind of living a mundane life that are here. And then you've also got the high net worth individuals that have maybe got something interesting going on in their life that you might want to find out some information from. And just being a good person, being a trustworthy person, and really just having good communication skills can get you very, very far. And the gym is a great place for that, because if you're training there 5-6 days a week, and so are they, because obviously they're a top drawer man, they've got their health in check and they're concentrated on their training, then you've got something in common there. You need to be open-minded to spending time with older people, people that have been around the block, people that you can learn from. You can't really learn much from people that you went to school with. Yes, everyone's going to be better at different things to a small degree, but for the most part, you're on an even playing field. And therefore, you need to remove yourself from that, go above and beyond, and really search for the answers that you're looking for. Because at the end of the day, knowledge is power, and the people that have knowledge tend to be people that have walked this earth longer than you. And those types of people are not going to be in a club or a pub on a Saturday night. They're probably doing things that are going to take them to the next level. And that's what you need to be doing. Whilst you're partying on a Friday and Saturday night, you're not achieving anything from that. Yes, you might meet the odd person if you're very lucky, who could potentially open up a new opportunity. But for the most part, the people that have serious opportunities and the people that are seriously valuable are going to be the kind of people that you meet in the gym, or the people that you meet in a coffee shop, or the people that you meet at a car dealership or the bank, somewhere of value. So I'm going to give you an actual example of how I applied this to my own life. It was just something that came natural. And I think when you're authentic, things do fall into place, and having a positive mindset will lead you down a path of meeting certain people that will open up new opportunities. So for me, when I was in my early teenage years, I met a guy who I essentially looked up to as being what we'd call now today a top drawer man. Dressed very well, had an amazing supercar that I thought, wow, like how on earth do you own one of those? I need to know. And just spoke with integrity, like was a very trustworthy person, very, very humble, not show-offy or arrogant in any way, shape or form. And that's something that I ultimately respected and looked up to and naturally gravitated towards. So back then I worked a job selling drinks in a club. I also worked the weekend at Holland & Barrett. I also worked personal training. So I had several different things going on to the point where I was selling my time for money and not making too much. So I was searching for more and more answers. So I remember pulling up to the petrol station, and I was in a random Megane at the time. It was an '05 plate Megane. It was absolutely beat down. It had about 100,000 miles on the clock. And I saw this guy filling up his red Ferrari with petrol, and I thought he must be a footballer that somebody knows. He just looked like a top drawer man. And I remember thinking, and it stuck within my mind, that that's the kind of man that I want to be. And I'm going to find a way of how to get there. So I remember going home and thinking, fuck, I actually wish I went up to him and introduced myself. And I don't know why I thought like that, but that's just how I felt. So I went home, went back to work. Next weekend, this same guy came into the shop that I was working at. So he came into Holland & Barrett, and I served him. And I said, oh, you're the guy with the red one? And he goes, yeah, that's me. And I said, would you mind telling me what you do? And obviously he gave me some vague answer, which was fine because I didn't expect him to just start giving me his life story about what he did. And he was very humble. His answer wasn't very arrogant. He was kind of just a bit taken aback that I actually had an interest to ask and understand. From there, again, it stuck in my mind, and I thought, you know what, I'm at work. I wish I took his number. I wish I found out some more information. And it stuck in my mind. And then I went to work at a bar, and I was selling drinks at the time just for some extra cash at night. Rather than going out at night and spending money, I was actually trying to make money but also socialize. And I bumped into him again for the third time. He was sober, and he came up to me. He says, look, you're a big lad, because at the time I was doing a lot of personal training. He said, I want to be trained by somebody local. Seemed like a cool guy. You've approached me now a few different times and I respect you. And he said one thing to me that stuck within my mind. And he said, I bet you get loads of girls doing this job. And I said, you know what? I've actually got a girlfriend. And he said, you know what? I really respect you for being honest to yourself, because in this situation, surrounded by ultimate degeneracy, you stuck true to who you are and you're not trying to impress me. And I said, look, that's just who I am. And from there, we exchanged details, met up for a coffee, started training him. And then that took me to several different places from there, which we won't go into, but that even led me into yachting and working for Lord Sugar. It opened up so many different opportunities to now we've just built up a friendship and we now benefit each other on a mutual basis. But it's an example of how you can network without forcing it, by just being a genuinely good person. The take home from that story in particular for me was spending time with the right people can have a massive impact on your life, and that shaped the man that I am today. That literally turned me from boy to man, because spending time with someone double your age, with double their life experience, but someone that's actually led an interesting life. Because sometimes age doesn't necessarily mean you have experience. There's plenty of guys at home that are 30, 40, 50 years old that haven't even left their town centre. They've been in the same dead relationship where they're deframed by their wife or girlfriend, and essentially their wife or girlfriend wears the shoes, to where they have no control over any part of their life. Those type of people go into work and just working that typical 9 to 5, going home, watching some shit TV and binge eating. Like, those types of people cannot offer you any type of value. You also have to be careful about who you take your information from. If you're taking your information from some guy who you look up to as not being the type of person you want to spend time with, or you want to be when you're older, then that is not the right type of person to be absorbing information from. Whereas if you're absorbing information from someone that you ultimately look up to as being, wow, that is the kind of person I want to be in 10, 20, 30 years time, then you're going to know that that person's got the answers to how you want to progress with your own character and your own life. So if we revert back to when I was 19, 20 years old, we're going back nearly 10 years now. So me doing this video at 29 should give you a great insight if you're at the earlier stages of your 20s. Now, if you're at your later stages of your 20s, then it's not too late to start applying these things. I think just being a genuine person can be enough. And that comes on to my point of this video, is you don't necessarily need to have monetary value in order to network. There's certain rooms and situations that you definitely can't be in unless you're a certain type of individual. But it doesn't matter, because just being trustworthy, just being loyal, just having good intentions can really be the difference between what somebody who's high value is lacking in their life. If you can be a younger person coming into an older person's life who has a great network, who has all of the things that you want, just simple things is all they're looking for. They're not necessarily looking for you to have more money than them, or for you to be on the same sort of level as them financially, but just being a good person, having genuine intentions and being a positive person. Those are the things that they're looking for, because if they can spend time with somebody like that, that's going to uplift their own character and help them essentially be good at what it is that they do. And you got to remember as well, if these people don't have kids, there's plenty of mentors that me and Liam have where they're older, in their 40s and 50s. They don't necessarily have children, and they treat us similarly to they would as if we were their sons. And the reason that I know that is because we've got younger people now coming in through TDM who are like 18, 19, and I see myself a little bit in them when I was their age, and I almost feel like a little bit of a role model, a bit of a dad. And I know that those people that I looked up to all them years ago felt exactly the same. And I know how much value that somebody can have from that. It gives them a purpose. Because you have to remember, people that have money, they run out of purpose. When you're on top of your game, you're making a lot of money and you feel like you're making big movements. Yes, you have purpose in your work and where you feel like you're progressing, but you maybe don't have purpose in your personal life. I think giving back to people that are younger and eager to work is a truly beautiful thing, because it will come back to you in respect and loyalty. If someone younger is willing to put the hours in to become somebody of value to you, then ultimately you're going to have not only a lifelong friend, but someone that you can rely on. Someone you can rely on to get things done is potentially going to help your business in many different ways. Nobody gives a fuck about a CV. When we're hiring at TDM, do you think we give a fuck about someone's CV? No, we care about their attitude, their competence, their willingness to learn, because you can teach anybody a skill, but you can't teach everyone a good attitude. And that's why if you can be that type of person that just wants to be an open sponge, somebody higher up somewhere will give you the time and energy that you least expect. Because you might be sat there thinking, well, yeah, but I'm just some loser sat at home doing nothing. Why would anybody want to spend time with me? And yeah, that might be how you feel, but I guarantee there's people out there that generally have a lot to give and they just have no one around them to give it to. So you just need to consider that and keep an open mind. So what I want you to do is get into great habits. Another great way to network is to take everybody's phone number. If you sit there right now and actually scroll through your phone book, how many people are in there? Is it just pointless friends from school? Is it just family? Or is there actually people in there that you can call upon? Because I guarantee most of you right now will scroll through your phone book and not actually have anyone of any type of value. How many people in your phone book are worth over $1 million? How many people in your phone book are worth $1 billion? How many people in your phone book are broke? Probably most of them. And that's the kind of thing that you need to take into consideration, because if everyone in your phone book is broke, then what is the point? If you've heard the saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, think about who you spend time with. Do you spend time with your mom? Do you spend time with your nan, your sister? I don't know, who is it? Think about it, and think about the types of people that they are, and are they good role models within your life? Whereas For most people are spending time with losers. Completely fucking broke losers. If you spend time with 5 drug dealers, chances are you're either going to be a drug user or a drug dealer, and both of which are going to end up down a rabbit hole of bad decisions. Whereas if you're spending time with 5 millionaires, do you really think you're going to be broke as the 6th? Absolutely not. You're going to be a millionaire. I guarantee it, because how can you not? You have all of the people and the right information around you in order to grow and be just as successful, if not more. So you need to start thinking about who you're spending time with and who you're sharing your energy with. If you're sharing your energy with broke people or low value women that are dragging you down and trying to get you to watch Netflix every night, then that's not the type of people that are going to push you in the right direction. You need to be surrounded by hungry individuals and people that also share the same goals and desires as you. The reason TDM works so well is because everybody, and I mean everybody, has that same burning desire to become a better person and to make more money and to upgrade their character. We don't allow for any kind of negative vibes, negative energy, or people that have low expectations in their own life. We're looking for the best and we expect the best, because we know that being around those types of people only pushes us all in a greater direction that leads the business to more success, and ultimately everybody levels up. Most of you have a network that is just online and superficial. I have a network that I shake a lot of people's hands. I make efforts to go out there and actually meet people. Yes, it might feel like a waste of time and you don't know if it's going to lead to a new opportunity or not, but I guarantee meeting people face to face and actually getting a feel for their presence and what they can offer, and them also feeling it from you, that's what's going to build relationships. That's what's going to build long-term future partnerships and potential business opportunities. Not all this Instagram or WhatsApp or Zoom or Google Meets. All of these things are great if you have to do it and you need that communication there 24 hours a day. But when it comes to actually building foundations on a solid relationship or friendship, then you need to actually meet people face to face. You need to be in several different situations. If you've only ever been in a friendship online, how do you have any type of emotion towards that person? You don't even know what type of person that person is. You need to be in several different situations in order to grow a friendship. Just having a friend that you go out with, you only know them in one situation of life. You've never been in this situation. You've only ever been in that situation. And therefore, your friendship is actually very narrow. It's not very broad. Whereas a true friend and someone that you can build a deep, meaningful connection with is somebody that you experience loads of different situations and scenarios with. If you've been away with this person abroad, if you've been on a night out with this person several times, if you've also worked with this person, if you've also shared maybe money or borrowed or lent money to each other before, if you've been in multitude of different situations, you can honestly say, hands down, you can put a lot of trust into that person. Whereas if you've only ever been in one situation with one person, how can you trust them in all the other avenues and situations in life? You can't. And therefore, that isn't a strong or deep connection. And that's what we see all of the time at TDM. When I do these phone calls with other business owners, they're in business with someone they've never even met. They've probably got a limited company or an LLC somewhere with some guy that they've met on Reddit or in some Discord. And the problem with that is it's not a deep connection. It's not, you don't know what that person's true intentions are. And these are the kind of things that you need to consider when networking. You need to actually make efforts to meet people, look them in the eye, and actually put yourself in some situations with this person. Let's say you're my age and you've spent 10 years worth of networking and you've got a fantastic phone book. What are you gonna do now? You're gonna protect it. You're not gonna try and fucking burn all of your relationships and bridges by trying to be a snake with some disingenuous, short-lived intentions. You need to make sure that you protect that network, because that network is your net worth. And I know that's cliche because all these people say, oh, your network is your net worth. It's like, yeah, okay, cool. But practically, you need to make sure that you hold on to that and protect it, and not just introduce people to random people. If you don't trust this person over here, why are you going to potentially connect them together within your network? I see this all the time, especially with influencers. Influencers tend to be the worst judges of character. Like the worst. Even though they're great at networking, all of the relationships are superficial. There's no actual depth to their relationships, to the point then where their network is pretty pointless, to be honest. They're surrounded by other influencers that also have the same sort of degeneracy in their life and the same sort of shallow patterns in their life to where they all introduce themselves to each other and then none of them really have any kind of true meaning or deep connections. So when it comes to your actual network and keeping your network close to you, just be careful about who you introduce certain people to. If you introduce Joe to Jack over here, now Jack could be someone that you networked with 10, 20 years ago, you built a really strong connection with, they trust you ultimately, they've got a lot of value and a lot to offer. Now, Joe's gonna be interested to meet Jack, but if you don't truly know Joe, don't introduce them. Because at the end of the day, that person coming in is a representation of your character and your judge of character. Let's say Joe or Jack introduce you to somebody else. If Joe or Jack introduce you to somebody else and then you make money, you need to also cut them in on the deal. You need to be a stoic man with good morals and good intentions, not somebody that's trying to snake the next person out. Because at the end of the day, if you hadn't have met certain people, certain things wouldn't happen within your life. So you just got to make sure that you become a fair individual. Because let's be honest, if you introduce two people together and then they say, hey, look, bro, like we actually made some money together, here's 10K. You're going to think, you know what, fucking these people are proper people. And these are people that are going to be in my life for the rest of my life. And those are the type of people that you can count on. Whereas if you put two people in touch with each other, they go off and then make millions and they don't even cut you in, then they weren't true to their own soul and have good intentions. You know that you can cut them people out and burn that bridge in relationship. And you just don't want that to ever happen to you. So always be mindful of who you're introducing to each other and pay attention to how people move around your own network. So to summarize, I just want you to understand that if you're introverted, extroverted, it doesn't matter. Just keep an open mind to meeting different types of people and watch how your life will unfold. You will end up in situations in years to come if you take my advice, and you'll look back and you'll think, how on earth did I end up in this situation? But all those serendipities that happen along the way all lead you down a different path, and keeping that open mind is going to take you to places that you could never ever imagine. So I wish you all the best. Drop me a DM if you want any advice on this topic or information. And if you want more information, the Top Drawer Man course essentially just covers everything that we talked about today and more.